big, like a big cucumber-sized sage. He proceeds to light it, has me hold up the crystals, and he's saging them. And then he's like, oh, you sage me. So I'm just waving it around like I'm introducing the Disney Channel, you know, like just waving it in the air.
Also, like, why is he, like, he was fine. He came, he was fine, and all of a sudden he is like, I need to be fully cleansed.
Yeah, he needed his
He's either preparing for
cleansed. I don't know.
Preparing for something, or...
Yeah. So then he tells me that he'll sage me as well, so he's just like doing it, and he's like, oh, I do these circles around you. I was like, okay. And then he told me that my house needed a saging as well, and showed me how to hold it in the corners. And I was just like, I have nothing against people who like this new age stuff. I don't believe there's spirits or bad auras in my house, even though they might be there. Why would burning sage get them away?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well just... You've lived in harmony this long, like, let's not disturb the spirits.
Yeah, or disharmony, really. Maybe the disharmony is what's keeping me going, you know? So anyway...
That feels right.
He kind of wasn't paying attention as I was saging, so I just skipped some corners and rooms completely. And then I'm like, okay, all done. And by that point, it was so much work, he needed another cigarette. So I was like, I'll light the heater out back for you again. And I went out there with him. It got really cold. It was really cold. It was like probably 9-something in the evening. So I turn around to come back in. I'm like, I'll see you in a minute. And I turn around, and my back door was locked.
Oh, no.
And I didn't have keys. I didn't have my phone.
Had he locked it behind him, or? So
he, I'm guessing, locked the handle. I have like a handle and a deadbolt. And I think he locked the handle when he came inside last time. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to walk around barefoot to the front door to let us in. And I get to the front door, and that is deadbolted from when he went out for the sage.
Oh my God.
And for a split second, I was like, is the sage delivery man inside my house right now robbing me?
Or waiting down the street?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
Oh my God.
And
what a nightmare.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. And so I didn't know what I was going to do. And then I realized, like, I have ways that I get in my house. And I now have to show this potentially unstable person how I break into my house when I've locked myself out.
Like, hey, stranger, both doors are locked. Just you wait.
So we get back inside.
Basically an infomercial for robbing you.
Yeah, it's a how-to. I wrote a manual on how one could rob me when I'm not here.
We'll detail that on an episode for everyone.
Yeah, it's a little scavenger hunt. There's nothing of value inside my home, though. Unfortunately, everything is old. You can hear these creaky chairs we're in. So we get back inside, finally back in. My fears of being robbed are alleviated a little bit. And,
for now.
Then this guy asks me for a glass of milk. And some frozen fruit he had seen in the freezer.
I'm not gonna lie, I think asking you for a glass of milk after all of this is probably the biggest red flag of them all. Who casually drinks milk these days?
Adults who drink a glass of milk are psychopaths. Like, I imagine that's something, what's his name, Patrick from American Psycho would do.
Yeah, you know,
before he chops someone up.
Worse than that is people who drink milk while eating food. Like, drink a glass of milk with dinner, which I understand is like, okay, in the times of Leave It to Beaver, sure, that's normal, but now it's like, are you going to murder me and my family?
And they no doubt say something like, this is my white wine. Gross. You're gross, Jeff. Anyway, yeah, so he asked for a glass of wine, of milk, is what I meant to say. A glass of milk and frozen fruit. And I just said, oh, help yourself. So he grabs the largest coffee mug in my cabinet and pours it of milk and then grabs the frozen berries out of the freezer and proceeds to eat them out of the bag on my couch. And I was just like, at no point did I tell him to stop. I was just watching along for the ride.
I love crunching on some frozen berries.
But I kind of watched. I'm sure at points my face was horrified, but it was absolutely the craziest trip of my life. And then, he was getting a little too comfortable. So I was like, I gotta work in the morning. Can I get you an Uber home?
Can I lock you out again?
Yeah. And I got him an Uber back to the motel he was staying in. And
interesting.
Yeah, it was a wild trip. And
what do you think? Here's what I want to know: is like, what do you think he's telling his friends about this date? Of it's like, you're on this side and you're like, oh my god, this is so insane, and he made me sage it. But like, is he telling his friends like, you wouldn't believe the energy that my crystals were taking in? I had to call so and so to bring me sage middle of the day. You wouldn't believe it.
He was sucking all the energy out of them.
I could not couldn't exist in that space for a moment longer without it being saged.
It probably was that. And I will say, though, I invited him over from a dating app. After that point, nothing about it seemed very date-like.
Yeah.
It was, at times, was like, am I watching a piece of performance art?
Yeah. Or you got a free consultation.
Yeah. I didn't walk away with any information.
I don't know. Maybe he's going to reach back out, maybe, if you'd like to buy some sage and crystals of your own,
I hope that guy will deliver them to me.
Absolutely.
It's COVID times. I don't want to go to the witch shop or whatever. Where do people buy crystals? Again, I have plenty of people in my life who use crystals. Mm-hmm. I don't make fun of them in general, but crystals are definitely not for me. But I don't even know where one buys them. And, they need to be charged in, the moon or the sun or something. So they need to be cleansed with sage, which to me seems a little polluty, but okay.
Yeah. That we need to combust something to cleanse,
But then you have to charge them in the light too. Some are in the moon, some are in the sun. I can't remember, honestly. I should have paid a little bit more attention in my master class.
There's probably, there's a manual. He'll touch base.
Yeah.
Maybe a digital pamphlet.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't even wanted to search any of these things because it will screw up the algorithms on all of my devices and apps, and then I will be fed, new age content.
Oh, yeah.
Which I definitely don't want.
Yeah.
Although if anyone wanted to sponsor this podcast, I would extol the virtues of crystals and saging. Mm-hmm. They work. I believe in him. And stamps.com.
You can sell anything. Look at that. A free ad. An introductory offer.
Do you hate going to the crystal store? Well, now you don't have to with crystals.com.
Crystals, I bet that exists.
Probably, and I'm just giving them a free plug. But I don't know. Have you ever had the white female urge to buy a crystal?
Uh-oh, outing me as a white female. If you hadn't guessed it. No, I mean, here's the thing. I neglect to take care of the things in my life that actually need, but that need caring for. Basic human things like caring for myself, feeding myself 3 times a day.
Sanitation.
Exactly. Cleaning my house. None of that. So, I can't introduce, crystals that need care into it. Because I imagine I'd get crystals and then someone who actually knows something about them would come over and be like, oh... How long has it been since you've charged these? I can't keep a plant alive to save my life.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Well, and I can't imagine having to have rocks that need to be charged Because I don't know, like, I have an electric toothbrush, and sometimes I forget to charge that. You know?
I can't charge my phone consistently.
Yeah. I mean, I cannot keep anything that I need charged.
No.
I'll, like, be planning to go for a walk or something, and then I'll be like, oh, I didn't put my watch on the charger in, like, 4 days, and it's been dead for 2, you know? Like, I just... But I gotta put these rocks out in the moonlight... Can they be in there too long? Do they get overdone?
Can you overcharge your crystals? I thought the exact same thing.
You've actually
I don't know.
killed their energy by overcharging
there's too much.
them.
Now maybe they're absorbing too much energy from you. I don't know. It would be all kinds of out of whack. I feel like it would just be a different level of, like, not.
Do you touch them? Do you, like, rub them in your hands? Or are they just around?
I think they're just around. Okay. See, I don't know. Oh my god. Anyone listening to this who knows anything about crystals is now turning this off.
No, you know what? You could educate us. Send us an email.
Yeah, that could be our first, like, guest on the show, is someone who can educate us about crystals and saging.
Yeah, you can reach us at unopinionatedpod@gmail.com. And,
let us know. We want your feedback. Unless it's negative feedback. You know?
I mean, I feel like we've shared a lot.
A lot. We've covered a lot of topics.
This is the kind of thing that you can look forward to here at Unopinionated.
Yeah, a glimpse into our world.
And we'll be back next week with new stuff. Better stuff. Always new stuff. And, we want to hear from you. So you can follow us at Unopinionated Pod on Instagram. Mm-hmm. And be sure to subscribe and tell your friends, and
come back and hear us again.
And leave a review after a few episodes.
Yeah, give it some time.
Anyway, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.